Hello, this is Thomas Sheltra for Module 8, Unit 8, Activity 3. So looking at the fourth student data evaluation. What I did for this lesson was I had students kind of do like a scenario scavenger hunt with the iCivics Do I Have a Right? Looking at the First Amendment only. Something that I'll talk about in my reflection once I finish the video, or once I finish editing the video, excuse me, is that there was one group or a pair of students who kind of went outside of the First Amendment. So, in future videos or for future lessons, that's going to be something that I'll make sure that the instructions are very clear. They did a great job, but they kind of they went a little overboard. And then I added vocabulary for the literacy skills. So this is something that I guess has been bothering me throughout the clinical, is that as I've been doing this unit and trying to incorporate vocabulary into what it is that we're doing, I had left that kind of outside of the classroom as far as leaving it to the student's responsibility to complete. But as I've been collecting the data, and part of the data collection that I really like is the fact that there are trends that you can find. And so what I had noticed with those trends is that while we were doing the content assessment in the subject area, and then also doing some of the soft skills, students were enhancing their abilities, week by week. But the vocabulary scores, as I would check their word box, even though I'd given students a lot of choices to select from, were not completing them when I was doing these sort of informal formative checks. So I made it a point for this lesson to make sure that students would do the vocabulary. There was 2 students who were not there, so they got, and again, one of the functions with the Teach Now is that you have your student roster, but there isn't anything to say I want to isolate this student from the last time. So I just marked them as zeros for this, even though they were not present for either the Monday or the Wednesday lesson. That was something I had to modify, which again we'll talk about in my video reflection. But one of the things I really liked is that students scored really, really high for the most part, showing those kind of collaboration and communication skills. Students seem to have a really fun time with it, and I think that's just because, even though it's civics and you're not really playing a video game per se, as far as what they might think of as playing a video game, they got really into the fact that they got to do something interactive. And I think that incorporating the vocabulary into the lesson was really great. And so that's something that I think showed me that students can do it. So it's something where they choose not to do it. And that by incorporating some of the, incorporating the vocabulary into their assessments and into the activities, really helped. So I was able to see sort of leaps and bounds of okay, this is just something that we're going to have to make as a norm for the class, that we're going to have to use vocabulary, and then kind of find ways to expand on that. And so perhaps something, as far as using those vocabulary words in writing a short reflection piece, or writing, I don't know, something that we could do creatively. They're digital film students, so maybe doing a vocab video or something might be really great. But anyways, I thought that this lesson went really well. I thought collecting the data went really well. There's a few students who didn't score as high as I thought they should have. And I think that was because as I was pacing the room, I noticed a couple students who weren't really engaged with their partner as much as they should be, and I think that their scores kind of reflected that when I did the checks after we played the game and we discussed the scenarios. So that is my reflection for the student data. I think that you know this kind of changed my mind a little bit from the perspective of the third video, and you can see that trend, kind of uptick a little bit when you incorporate those activity or assessments into the activities that you're doing, rather than leaving it for homework or for the student to do on their own time. So that is my reflection for the fourth student data evaluation, and thank you very much.